you supported Alice in Chains at the Brixton Academy, right? Me and Neil were at
We were
one of the
there.
gigs. We were there.
That's,
Do you
Yeah,
remember those?
yes, yeah. That was one of my favorite ever tours.
Oh, brilliant.
Touring.
brilliant.
We did a handful of shows over here. We did some shows in Europe as well, and
Yeah, that's right.
but it was like I really got on well with Lane and Jerry. They were
Right.
Oh,
like
really?
yeah, and whenever I see Jerry on my travels, he always comes up and says hello, and he
Oh,
That's
wow.
nice.
says I'm his favorite wild art.
Welcome. We are Neil,
Luke.
And Dave.
340 somethings, reminiscing on the runners and riders of 90s guitar music.
We look at the bands who soundtracked our youth on both sides of the pond and interview some of our heroes from the bands that defined a generation.
You'll hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly of 90s guitar music.
This podcast is Stupid and Contagious. Episode 71 of the Stupid and Contagious podcast. What the?
Why did you do that?
Keep trying to shoehorn it in. I'm trying to
Yeah,
bring it
you
back.
haven't done it for a while. Yeah, that's true. You hadn't done it for a while. Good on you.
I
Justified.
tried to do it with Dave for a while, and he never bit.
No,
That's
no.
it's disappointing.
Keep
I think it's
keep
still got
going.
legs.
I think it does. Keep going. Keep trying.
Maybe the group will, the Facebook group will agree with me that
And
sort
they're
of
all doing
greeting
it.
should be brought back.
They're all doing it. Yeah.
This week we're talking to CJ from ex-Wildhearts, Honeycrack, currently solo stuff, speaking about all that. So that's coming later on. Before that, Luke, what have you been up to apart from doing that annoying thing with that spoon?
Stirring my hot chocolate. Is that really annoying? Am I?
A little bit.
A bit.
Or maybe I'm gonna
carry on.
I'm gonna
It's all right.
hypnotize you. Sorry,
No.
it's not much left. I've been really busy.
Is that a Brighton and Hove Albion mug?
It is indeed. It is
Okay.
indeed. Yeah.
He's such a fair weather supporter.
Yeah, now they're
Before
doing
they
well.
got to the
He's
top
got
of
his
the
mug out
Premier
again.
League, he never mentioned them, did he?
No,
No,
it's him
not
all
interested
over,
in
isn't it?
anyone unless they're successful. Well, I've been really busy recording interviews with our listeners for the upcoming episode on Best of 2024. So
That's
that's what I've
right.
been doing.
Oh, who have you spoken to?
I have spoken to 4 people so far. The reason we're doing this a little bit late today, I just spoken to Michael Vickers. You might have seen him on the Facebook group doing the
Oh yeah,
cover versions, right? He's got that that's like the cover versions on his
cover
guitar.
versions.
Don't do
Cover
that now.
versions.
Don't
Yeah.
do that.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
he did.
Cover version. Spoke with Richard, Go Richard yesterday, and I spoke with Austin as well. Really cool guy, and also spoke with former guest Alex Boucher as well. So he's coming on,
Yeah,
coming
be a
back
good one.
to do this. So
Looking
yeah, there's
forward
a
to
really
listening to that one.
diverse kind of range of recommendations and
spoil
stuff
it.
so far. I won't. But yeah, so really enjoying that. Really cool people,
Oh, I'm looking
knowledgeable,
forward to that
nice,
as well.
cool people. Mm.
Yeah, it'd be good. Something a little bit different. We like it. Looking forward to that one. But what else have you been doing apart from that?
That's taking over my time, man. Nothing at all. Yeah. How about you?
I'm in Lanzarote.
Yeah. How's that?
Yeah, it's hot. Well, 20 on the terrace. It's 28 degrees.
Oh,
Hot enough.
bloody hell.
It's nice, eh?
Yeah,
You been for a swim?
I did go. I got in the swimming pool about 9 o'clock this morning. It's fucking freezing.
It's got to be
Really
warmer than
cold.
fucking Lewis, though, isn't it?
I'm a fair weather outdoor swimmer.
Mm.
I only do it when it's like a reasonable temperature. It was fucking freezing. It's when you jump in and it takes your breath away. It's like that.
Yeah.
Didn't stay
Good
in for
going.
long.
It's be
It's a
good
good
for
way
you,
to
though,
wake
isn't it?
up. Yeah, it's a
Mm.
good way to wake up. And it's the sun's out. Yeah, it's nice. I like it. Yeah, it's good.
Mm. Good
It's
on
good.
you. How long are you there for?
3 weeks, 3.5 weeks.
Not bad, eh?
It's all right, isn't it?
Bad. It's all right.
I thought you were
What's
going to
your-
winter there.
I would, but I've got to get back for a bit of work. Otherwise, I probably would. I'd like to move out here at some point. It's nice.
You're going to get one of those electric bikes again and go around.
Yeah, I think so.
Streets.
Yeah, I think so. Tear it up.
Yeah. Sure.
I just could tear it up.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a bit behind on this because Dave mentioned this ages ago, but I watched that when Nirvana came to the UK documentary last night.
Mm. How was it?
It's good, yeah, really good. Really enjoyed it.
Did you learn anything that you didn't know before watching the documentary?
I didn't realise how big a part. Well, I did, but it was good to have it explained how big a part the UK played in Nirvana's rise to fame. Because it's got that guy on it, hasn't it? What's his name?
John
Everett
Rock.
True.
Everett True. Yeah. And John Rock. Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's good. It's always weird when you see these mega stars and you see that they're living in these little sort of B&Bs in England.
Yeah, I've seen those photos. I haven't seen the documentary. I've seen those photos of them
Yeah, it's
sitting on the
good.
steps outside.
And
the
they
B&B.
they interview the bloke where they stayed and he cooked them like breakfast and stuff. You know, I love all that sort of stuff. It's stories and it's good. But yeah, that famous photo was taken on those steps as well with the eyeliner, wasn't it? Where he's
No,
looking
that's
up at the
right.
camera.
Okay, that's a good picture, isn't
So,
it? You ever worn eyeliner?
yeah. I wish
Yeah.
I'd done it more.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I'm too old
Yeah.
for it now. Tell you who doesn't look good in eyeliner is the drummer in Green Day. He just looks weird.
Right.
Doesn't really pull it off though, but he insists on doing it all the time. So fair play, I guess. At least he's persistent.
Sure. Yeah.
Should we all
Yeah,
wear
no.
it for the next episode?
Well, maybe we should. Or maybe we should do a goth episode, or maybe we can all wear it.
All right, we'll save it for the goth episode. All right. Sure.
No, the last time I wore eyeliner, I went to see him. You remember him?
Yeah.
That band. Yeah. So I went to see them in London.
Him.
I can't remember what venue it
You used the
was.
wrong pronoun there.
Yeah, sorry. I went to see
Him.
him.
Yeah.
He. They. I can't remember what the venue was now. But yeah, I wore eyeliner for that. So that was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
That's the last
had to
time.
be done. Yeah.
It was Halloween, so I could get away with it. Yeah, Well, yeah, I wish I got more into that side of things. I do like a bit of eyeliner. I think that's good on a man. Well, these analog men did it well.
They did do it very well. Yeah. Dave, what have you been up to?
Weren't any eyeliner this week?
No eyeliner.
Oh.
But the app's nearly ready.
Yes,
Okay.
I've seen it. Bloody good it
Good.
is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hardly does. It's very basic.
Yeah, it's still good though.
You can just see all the episodes, drill in, and either watch
Drill
the
in.
video.
You're using
Drill
this,
in. It's a
she's using this jargon again.
Just drill in.
What do you
Drill in, man.
What do you mean drill in?
you press the
Drill
button
in.
and it drills into that episode.
How?
I didn't even know it was jargon.
With a drill.
It just comes so naturally to me
What
now.
does it mean?
Do you need a drill to use the app?
I mean, like last week I took the piss, but I can understand in bed. But drill in, I've literally got no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Like, imagine you've got a list of things on your screen.
Answer my question. Do you need a drill to use the app?
Shut up. That's a stupid question. Imagine you've
Do you
got
know
a
the guy out of Mr. Big? He used to use I didn't know this, right? My students were talking about it. They asked me, like, do you like Mr. Big? And I'm like, of course not. Nobody likes Mr. Big. And they said, what about the drill? I said, what do you mean? So they pulled up YouTube, and they've got this. Apparently, it's like famous. Everyone knows it in Japan. He's got this electric drill, and he's attached a plectrum to it. He's playing his guitar
I've seen
with
this.
an electric guitar and a plectrum on it.
I think I've seen
Fucking
this.
amazing, man. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'm a convert now. It's fucking brilliant.
You don't need a drill to use the app.
No. It's just when you
Right.
have a list of items on the screen and you press one and go to the next page. That's
Okay.
all it is.
Great. Okay.
And that's all you can do.
What
Yeah,
about
but
the
that's
playlist?
enough.
And then you can see your playlist as well.
Yeah, that's the good bit. Yeah, you can, and it even if you haven't got Spotify, it gives you like a little intro to each song, so you can still kind of get a taster.
Oh, brilliant.
That's great.
When's it going to be rolled out?
It's pretty much ready to
Within
go,
a
is
week.
it?
Yeah, I've just got to go through the Apple vetting process. Yeah.
Right.
Which
Does that
takes
involve
2 days.
pets or
Yeah.
right?
Vetting
I have to check that.
process. That would nearly work, that joke. It came so close. It's
It
brilliant.
did work.
Yeah, nearly.
Oh, that's good. So next week we'll put something up in the Facebook group, and people can go in and download it. let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, not many podcasts have their own app. Tell you that much. Tell you that for nothing.
Maybe there's a reason for that. But we'll
Because
see.
Well, we'll find out
sure, so.
when no
it's
one
gonna
downloads
be
it.
free, right? You're not gonna try to monetize it. I know what you're like, Dave.
No,
It's free.
Come on,
It's free.
yeah, give him half a chance.
it's free.
What else, Dave? Come on, what's been going on in Berwick this week?
Oh yeah,
Hey,
Lord
on.
Lloyd's died.
that's right.
Who?
Yeah, you said Lord Lloyd.
He was the patriarch of the village.
Oh no.
Genuinely
Yeah.
liked by everyone
Yes.
because
Okay.
he's protected us from building around the village.
So, yeah, so I said to Dave, now he's gone, Dave and Victoria should put their names in the hat for the Lord and
Yeah.
Lady of Berwick.
Definitely.
Why not? Could be
Why
us.
not? Yeah.
I think you should.
Was he a
Should.
real lord?
Yeah, yeah. It was in the Telegraph. His obituary.
Bet it was. Yeah. How old
Chris
was he?
Shearbank's a sheriff, isn't he?
Is he?
I think he bought himself a sheriff thing. Yeah, he's a, he's a sheriff.
Was
I
he
thought he
not
was a
lord? He was
lord.
Lord of Brighton, though. Like a laird
Yeah,
or
but he's
something. No,
He's also a sheriff.
good on him. Yeah,
I
yeah.
like it.
But your dad's a Texas Ranger.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Is that everything then?
I reckon.
Fucking spoon. What is that shit you're
Love it.
drinking anyway? Soup.
I told you, it's hot chocolate.
Okay, so let's get into this week's episode with CJ Wildheart. Yeah?
Oh yeah.
If you are watching this, then please do subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and comment below. Get involved in the comments. And if you're listening, then please do rate and review. Share it with your friends so they can find the podcast. Yeah, let's tell us a bit about the Wildhearts, Luke.
Have you got a description
For
of
people
their
who don't know.
sound?
Oh, I know I didn't do that. Hang on. Let me do that now.
British Guns N' Roses.
Wow. English rock band.
Yeah. I mean, they are compared to other bands that have on. They're like a straight ahead rock band, right?
Kind of. They definitely dressed that way, didn't they?
Yeah. So, what do you think then, Dave?
Mm.
British Guns N' Roses. Is that like he gave that description in the interview? Is that a good way to think about them?
No, not really.
No.
I mean, that wasn't CJ's description, was it?
No.
No.
People linked him. I can see why.
Just because he had ginger hair. Well, I can and I can't. I don't think they really sound like Guns N'
No, they
Roses.
didn't sound like him.
But I think they were part of that kind of scene that was kind of linked to it. So
They're definitely more rock than a lot of the indie bands around at the time, I think.
yeah, and yeah, a lot of the bands that we have on the podcast are a bit more kind of hard rock than those kind of bands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm obsessed with band names. I just think it's a brilliant band name, both Wildhearts and Honeycrack.
That's good because you don't really like many band names, do you? So that's
No,
that's a
but those
compliment.
they're both.
Why
Both
do
of
they
them.
appeal to you, Dave?
It's hard to put your finger on, isn't it?
Do it. Put your finger.
Try
They
to put your
just
finger on
sound
the
good.
crack.
Come on, put your finger in the crack.
They just sound cool, don't they?
They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sound cool.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, Wildhearts are good. Honeycrack, I guess they got the sweet honey, and then the crack. I guess that's part of it, right?
Glad their names have got your approval. That's a good start.
Yeah, CJ would be pleased about that.
Yeah.
So formed in 1989, and after a few kind of lineup changes, they basically settled on the classic lineup. Basically, so Ginger on guitar and vocals came from the Choir Boys, who had a bit of fame, didn't they?
Yeah, they did all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still going, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think they are.
Well, he talks about it in interview, I think, doesn't he? Right? They're still going in some form.
Yeah.
CJ, well, full name Christopher Jagdar. That's where CJ comes from. He was in a band called Tattooed Love Boys, which were real
Dave,
kind of.
What's that? How's that for a name?
Pretty good.
Mm.
Another
It's
good one.
I think it's from like a Pretenders song title.
Tattooed Love Boys. Yeah, I like that. It's good.
Yeah, and yeah, if you see pictures of a man, they're full on kind of like 80s hair metal kind of
Proper
style.
glam.
Yeah, exactly. Really cool.
Mm.
Danny McCormack, brother of Chris McCormack from Three Colours Red. We'll come to
that's
him
interesting.
and his fate later, but yeah. And a guy called Bam Ross, or Bam Bam, on drums from the Dogs d'Amour. So they all come from different and went on as well to different things. That's the classic lineup, basically. Yeah, they signed to East West, like early 90s, basically. They were quite a big record label at the time. They kind of, I had like a subsidiary of one of the majors, right? So they released lots of bands.
I think
Simply
I
Red.
think they were all subsidiaries of the
Yeah.
majors, though, pretty much.
Marky Mark, Jimmy Nail, all came out on East West. All the greats.
Dave, you
Jimmy
must
Nail,
like a
can
bit
you
of
believe
Simply
that
Red,
guy had a
Dave.
career?
No.
Hey, Jimmy Nail,
Yeah.
you're lying.
Good
That
one.
didn't work.
It did.
What's the joke? I don't get this.
Well, Luke didn't even get it.
What's the joke?
You know, she's lying.
It's part of the song.
It's from
isn't it?
one of his biggest
You
hits.
don't
Oh,
want nobody
I don't
else. She's
yeah.
lying.
It's lying. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, man. I think that was good. I should have got it. I'm sorry. But he sold so many records. He sold
He
shitloads of
became a bit
records.
of a heartthrob as well.
Yeah,
which is
he
really
was.
strange for a guy that liked him. No offense.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jimmy Nail, if you're listening, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A typical heartthrob. I was just asking David if he likes Simply Red.
I get from the question you're implying that I would. You think
Yeah.
I would like them?
Yeah.
You must have stars. I bet you've got stars in your collection, haven't you?
No, my sister had one of the early albums, which I thought was good. I can't remember what it was called, but it wasn't Stars.
Is it the one with the pink cover?
Think so. No, the one from the 80s.
Yeah.
With
The
If You Don't
mid-80s.
Know Me By Now and all that stuff on it.
Yeah.
Oh right, that wasn't a bad
That
tune,
period
actually, was
wasn't
it?
too bad. No, that was all right. It was when he did the whole stars thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah, bit too much. Back to the Wildhearts. They started releasing singles in 1992. First single, "Don't Be Happy, Just Worry."
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Their take on that.
See what they did. Quite good, eh?
Mm.
And this was around the time. Well, CJ explains it in the interview where they added kind of Wildheart to their names, basically, around this time. We'll leave the listeners to listen to the interview to find out why and how that happened. First album in '93, Earth versus the Wildhearts. Couple of big tunes from it. Greetings from Shitsville and TV Tan. They also had another single which they put out after, and it was added to later versions, Caffeine Bomb. And it's probably one of their most
That's a great
well-known.
song.
Yeah. Got them on top of the pops. And again, well, CJ talks about it in the interview, so I won't go into it in too much detail. But yeah, great track. So
Yeah, it is.
between this, the first album and the second album, we talked about before, PHUQ, Fuck, in '95. Basically, CJ got sacked by Ginger. He'd already started playing on the album as well, and he got sacked.
Do they just fall out? Because we don't. It doesn't cover. It's not covered in the interview, is it?
I think they just had a falling out. It was interesting. I spoke to yesterday. I spoke to listener Austin.
Spoil it.
Well, I think we talked about it after, so it's not in the recording.
Oh,
but he said
that's
what's
right.
coming up, and I said, "Oh, we're doing CJ Wildheart this week," and he seems to know, I think, them a little bit. And he said, so he knows someone that knows him, and he said him and Ginger are as bad as each other, basically, and I think they've just got like a tension between them. So. Yeah, well, I don't know, but Ginger does seem like a bit of a he didn't just later on he sacked everyone, so I think it's not just like that between them two. Yeah. Also around this time, pod favorite Mark Keds very briefly joined the Wildhearts as well.
I thought I'd made that up, you see.
Yeah.
I thought I'd made up that he was in the Wildhearts. Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Very briefly, yeah. And also they were starting to get a reputation basically for chaos and drugs and causing trouble wherever they went around this time. So, for example, I think they had a bad review or whatever in Kerrang, and they went to the Kerrang offices and smashed it up. Shit like that.
Rock and roll, isn't it?
Rock and roll.
There you go. British Guns N' Roses.
There you go. Yeah.
Exactly.
Did a couple of grand's worth of damage apparently.
Yeah,
so,
in your face.
yeah,
Right.
the man. Yeah. Again, he talks about in interview, but they're kind of their reputation was kind of kept them in like the music magazines, but they didn't have that much mainstream success, and they're kind of the chaos and everything kind of overshadowed the music. Unfortunately, although saying that, Fuck got to number 6 in the charts, a top 10 album, so that's pretty good, right, for that kind of band.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's really good back then as well. Yeah.
Nice spelling of fuck as well, isn't it?
It's clever, right?
Clever, isn't it?
Getting away with putting it on like in Woolworths and shit, right?
Yeah, you don't see it straight away when you see the word.
Yeah, I like
There's FC UK, of course, wasn't there?
Yeah.
That was
That was
clever
annoying.
marketing, wasn't it?
It was good, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was clever,
Yeah.
Seems pretty dated now, though.
Yeah.
They had a third album in '97, Endless Nameless, and then basically Ginger broke up the band, sacked everyone, and that was the end of the Wildhearts for the time being. But they reformed no fewer than 4 times since that initial breakup. So they reformed in 2001 until 2005. Most of the original members were in here, different drummer, but everyone else was the same. And basically, Danny McCormack had a lot of drug problems, basically, and I think it wasn't helping the band. He was so fucked up he had to have his leg amputated.
Fucking hell.
Was it sepsis or something like that?
Well, apparently, I think I don't know what he was doing, whatever, but he severed an artery in his groin, and it kind of cut off the blood supply to the leg, and it caused an aneurysm. And
God,
he had
you
to
know
have
quite a lot
amputated.
about this.
I tried to go into it and
You've
find
done your
out.
research.
It's kind of it's fucking
We
morbid
love
shit,
medical
man.
details, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good.
But
It's good
I
to get
think
your facts
that's what
straight.
happened. I think that's what happened. Yeah. And I read another, like an interview, a couple of interviews from around the time, and he was like, he'd moved into like a hostel and stuff, and like the news report was like he's finally reunited with his dog, and he had to move out of his flat because he's in the hospital, and he moved into this hostel. I think he's just not in a good way. Yeah.
No.
He's all right now.
Is
and
he
he's
still
got
alive?
He's still alive. We got the he's got this book out, which we mentioned a little bit in the interview. And actually, I got some of this information from listener John, the guy that's in Japan. He had a podcast for a while during lockdown, and he interviewed Danny Wildheart. So I listened to that and got some good information from it. So yeah, thanks for the source there, John. They reformed again in 2007 to 2010. This is CJ talks about it, but they released.
When did they break up?
2005.
How can you? Is it a breakup if it's a year? I don't
2.
think it is it?
Well, there you go. Reformed again 2007. They released a self-titled album just called The Wildhearts. CJ calls it the White Album in the interview. Critically acclaimed. He said it was his favorite. Yeah, and it got really good reviews all around. And I think it's generally seen as like the pinnacle of their powers, basically, for what they did.
Oh, right. Is it on Spotify then? Because I was looking for the White Album.
Yeah, it's just called The Wildhearts. It's on there. Yeah.
You're looking for the wrong album, Dave.
Yeah, it's a white cover with them.
CJ's
their
fault.
faces. Yes,
Yeah,
CJ's
you're
fault.
right.
Yeah. Broke up in 2010, reformed again in 2016 to 2022. Couldn't find any information about this period at all. They were just around. And they reformed again this year in 2024. But again,
that's just another 2 year. That's not a breakup, is it?
Well, it's not even a reformation either, because it's basically just Ginger and random other people.
Yeah,
and,
I'm not happy about all these.
Well, yeah, I mean, I went
breakups.
on to, I was on the his Facebook page, and most of the comments were like, "This isn't the Wildhearts. This is bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. I've got a ticket, but I'm not happy about it," and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a piss take.
I want to talk about,
Yeah,
I want to talk about that a bit afterwards. So yeah.
All right. So wait. So I didn't go into it in too much detail before, but when CJ was sacked in '94, he immediately formed Honeycrack. They had one album came out in '96 called Prosaic. Couple of top 40 hits from it. Sitting at Home, King of Misery, widely seen as a great band. I think I didn't even know he was in the Wildhearts, but I just liked Honeycrack. I'm pretty sure when they
Right,
come
right,
out. I think I said, I mean, I bought the singles and stuff, but I didn't know
I
there was a
really like
connection.
Honeycrack.
Mm.
And this is weird because I didn't know about is it Danny from Three Colours Red?
Chris. Danny's Wild
Chris.
Hearts. His brother is Chris.
Right, because I think that Honeycrack, they remind me of Three Colours Red. They sound a bit like Three Colours Red.
Yeah,
That's what I thought anyway.
Yeah.
They're on TFO Friday, one of the songs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
saw
think
that.
they're really good. Huh? Did you see it, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got a sort of Three Colours Red sort of vibe to them.
Was Ben
So that's
Hardy in
interesting.
Three Colours Red
Yeah.
Yes.
from Senseless
Yeah.
Things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a small
That's
pool, isn't it? They're all
It
links
is, isn't it?
between them all.
There you go.
Little
We're
sort of
building the web.
thing going on.
Yeah, when they broke up, he had another band called the Jellies. They had a couple of albums, and after that, he's solo stuff. Or CJ and the Satellites is his solo band. I think they're 5 albums. And when this episode comes out, Friday the 20th of December, CJ's new album will be available to download on Bandcamp. And
we couldn't have made that work any better, could we? It's literally we've released. We told him we'd get it out around the time of that, and we've done it on the day.
The day. Yeah. Yeah.
Not so fair than that, can you?
And there you go. That's the Wildhearts.
So should we have a listen to the interview and then we'll have a chat about it afterwards? So here's CJ. Enjoy. CJ, thanks so much for coming on. Where do we find you at the moment? How are things? What are you up to?
I'm actually rehearsing for a couple of shows I got next week. Supporting Michael Monroe and his band. So he's out celebrating the 40th anniversary of Two Steps from the Move, which is my favorite Hannah Rocks album. And yeah, both shows are going to sell out, and it's going to be really good. It's really good. His band are brilliant. I love my solo band, so I'll get out and play a really good set with my band. So yeah, it's always good.
Yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah, I saw you post on social media. You just finished a new album. Is that right?
I have, yes. Yeah, literally like yesterday we finished mastering it.
Brilliant.
I think it's my 7th or 8th solo album.
Wow.
So you start, you know what? You make so many albums, you stop counting after a while, because it's just, as long as you're happy with whatever album you're making, that's the battle won. The days of me, having my albums at home or looking at them thinking I've achieved something are long gone. I just think it's enough that at the age of 56 I can still make a bit of bacon from music, without having a label or PR and stuff like that.
Well, that's the next question. I mean, so you self-release everything, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah. How does that work?
I don't know how it works. Like, up until the age of 30, I had about £2 million invested in my brand. Like, so I signed 2 huge record deals with 2 different bands. Obviously, I come from the Wildhearts. It's a band I formed with Ginger back in 1989. We had a huge deal with Warner Brothers, and then I had a band called Honeycrack.
Yeah.
That's right.
I had a massive deal with Sony, and because of the hard work of these big labels and all the thousands of people who work for them, they enabled us to have a fan base and a vehicle and a platform to push ourselves, the band, and the songs. And if it wasn't for Sony and Warner Brothers, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. And I think a lot of bands diss labels and diss all the management and all the people who work behind the scenes. But if it wasn't for them, they'll be asking, "Do you want fries with that, son?"
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, because you're right. I mean, a lot of bands, they sort of have a sort of a positive and a negative vibe with the whole record label thing. But that's interesting that you've just found it a positive.
Look at it this way: no one was holding a gun to our head when we took all that money.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And then if you take all that money, and like in the case of the Wildhearts, a lot of it went up our nose and down the toilet. But you took all that money. You're right. You make great albums, but only a handful of bands get to really make it, and we weren't one of those bands. And it wasn't the record company's fault; it was always our fault. We were the reason why, someone wouldn't invest in us or work for us, because the band was so dysfunctional. And I would invest in a band like Wildhearts if I was a businessman. I'd look at them and go, "You guys are idiots. You're a good band and you got some great songs, but are you going to keep this together for longer than 2 weeks without sacking someone or fighting, or someone's going to have
Right.
We'll come on to that later, I think. But yeah. But but do you make like enough money? Do you make money by self-releasing and stuff?
Right. I used to. Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to. I'm in the problem now where I'll be really honest with you. I'm looking at getting a part-time job next year to run alongside the music. So it can go over two ways. I can just quit for good,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
I'm 57, I turn 57 next month. In about a month's time, I turn 57. I can put my hands up and go, you had a really good crack at this. You're going to get a job when you're 57 years old, and I can go,
Yeah.
"Yep, I had a good crack, and I'm lucky." Or I can carry on making music until the day I die. And that music it's easy. I record at home. I make albums for so cheaply. That's how I make a living. And I do most of the work myself. I'm a manager, and I've got a great artist, great producer. And I can get a day job, a part-time job to run alongside that, and let that part-time job take care of the important thing like bills and stuff
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
that's
Yeah.
definitely the way to go, right? That's definitely
That's
the way. It's a
that's
shame
how
you have to do that, but
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah. So
Yeah.
my next album isn't going to be called Final.
Yeah,
No, I
that's
hope
good.
not, man. I hope not.
It's actually called Devil, and I start recording it in about 2 weeks. So
It's already done.
I don't know.
no, I start recording it. Yeah, I got the song ideas, and I'll start. It takes me about 4 months to make an album, and if I'm going to get a job, I need a new album in the bank by sort of about April. So,
Sure. Well, sounds like
yeah.
you're on the way.
When I'm asking you if you want fries or a milkshake, boss, I ain't going to be able to record an album then, am I? Actually, you know what? I could get a job in home base. I'm old enough now. One of those old boys by the plumbing section.
Sure.
I mean, that'd probably make some friends doing that. Be all right.
Yeah, an orange apron and all of that shit. It'd be good, man.
I've got a sack. That's not how you use a nail gun, CJ.
No.
Yeah, careful with those.
Oh, I mean, you said you've been doing it a long time. So, can you talk about some of your early bands before the Wildhearts?
Well, the very first kind of I moved to Britain. I grew up in the army, so I was in
Yeah.
like Singapore, Malaya, and Germany. And
Yeah, that's right.
born over here, spent a little time over here, and then traveled around the world. And then when I moved back to Britain when I was about 15, it was quite a it was a horrible time for me growing up in the army, and I'd been living in Germany for about 7 years on an army barracks with that kind of lifestyle. So going to a civilian school for the first time was a bit rough for me, and seeing skinheads and stuff like that for the first time.
Yeah.
Because my dad was West Indian, and I grew up in the army. Because one thing he taught me is to stand my ground. And
Right.
I didn't think the skinheads had ever come across someone, especially an Asian kid like me. They'd
Yeah.
never come across. And so
did you give back as good as you got?
always
Yeah,
have.
mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I get angry, my eyes go black, and it normally diffuses most confrontation. They see something in me, and it's like you should never fight, but you should always look like if they're going to start on
Yeah,
you're not going
you're
to
ready.
down.
Right.
Yeah.
So you rub off. I mean, it's always the loudest people in the room are the ones who tend to go down first, and I don't fight, and I can talk my way out of most situations because of going to school and the things I had to deal with. So I met these skinheads, four of them, and I actually became friends with two of them who were they could play, and eventually, I mean, it's all the error of the ways and stuff, and it's their parents, like that. It wasn't
Of
like
course,
great
it's
shit.
always, yeah.
Yeah, right.
And they were massive Jam fans. So my first kind of playing with first musicians, I played in a band that covered Jam songs.
Oh, nice.
And we were like sort of 16, 17. Yeah.
Yeah.
So which gets me, I've just done a version of In the City on my new album.
Oh, nice.
And it's a nod back to those.
Yeah, right back. Brilliant. Yeah.
And then I discovered I mean, I always loved metal, and I always loved a bit of punk, but then thrash hit.
Right.
And Metallica got a demo of this new band, Metallica's, before they had anything out, and I put it on. It was like fuck, this is like completely different to anything I heard before, and it had elements of that heavy metal thing, but there was punk in there, and it was taking it a lot harder. And then I just dived into the whole thrash metal scene. And then I had a band who played around with thrash metal. Then I toyed around with the glam. When I first moved to London as a teenager, I was kind of toying around with the glam rock thing. I had a band called the Tattoo Love Boys, and I signed my
That's
first
right. Yeah, we got a question on that. Yeah.
I've seen the pictures, man. That's a lot of hair. That's
I had a lot
impressive.
of hair, but I was a teenager, and I lived in the West End. Soho was my haunt, and this is like 86, 87, 88. It was a great time. It was vibrant, and if it wasn't for that band, I was doing a gig at the Hippodrome, Peter Stringfellow's club, and a guy called Ray Zell, who was a journalist and an artist for Kerrang magazine, brought someone called Ginger to come and meet me and say, the guy you should start a band with. And
Oh wow. Yeah.
I love that. One of those sliding door moments.
Yeah. I always think of like in thrash metal, but also like the glam metal stuff like that you were doing as purely American. I mean, how much of it was there in London at the time?
There was a really healthy glam sort of sleaze scene around the whole of Soho. So all like the Marquee Club, Sam the Ritz, and the Hippodrome always had a rock night. There was tons of venues you could play, you could play all over the country. There was a thing called the Rock Society. It was run by the universities, and you could do gigs all around the university. And I was getting paid more money for gigs back then than I'm getting paid now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to play places like them. I used to play the Marquee all the time, and it's such a classic venue.
Yeah.
It's every band that played there, and I saw Guns N' Roses there with 300 people watching them.
Oh wow.
It was mental. Yeah, this way before when Axl could sing.
How was that gig? Was it quite a chaotic gig for them? Must have been.
They did 2 nights at the Marquee, and they both sold out. And they just released an EP. I think they just released an EP, and they were incredible. When you see a band, you just say,
they're on that cusp. Yeah.
I mean, the best band I ever saw at the Marquee Club was the Cardiacs, and it was the first time I saw the Cardiacs. And that was in 1980, I don't know, 86 maybe. Still to this day, it's probably one of the best gigs I've ever been to. And it changed, again, seeing the Cardiacs changed the way I thought about music. And one of the connections me and Ginger had, because we love the glam thing, we love punk, we love metal, we also fucking love the Cardiacs. And it was really hard finding someone else with that same diverse.
Well, that's having that.
The Wildhearts mix so many genres together. It's because of the fact we wanted to just put it all in a pot and just let it go.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense. Yeah. So you said that the guy brought. Go on.
No, go on. You're fine. I was just going to say, what's your first impressions of Ginger when you sort of met him? Did you think this is someone that I can work with?
Yeah, I mean, we got on like a house on fire. And there was a lot of similarities between the both of us, and we were very good friends for a short time. And I mean, he's obviously had to deal with a lot of his mental health problems and stuff. But there came a point, we were both very young. I mean, I was like 21 when we started the band. He was 24. And we were kind of going down the same road together for a bit, but then. I mean, I think the downfall for the Wildhearts was the drug abuse.
Yeah,
because we all abused drugs heavily, and it just warped. I tell you what, it did. It magnified everything that was bad about us 100.
Yeah,
and when you do that, it's a nightmare. I've never been in a band so chaotic, and just it was. It took me. I always said, when we formed the band in 1989, it took me 34 years to break away from him, and I've finally broken away from Ginger, and I wish him all the best. But there's no way I'd ever go back to that. At my age, I haven't touched drugs in about 17 years. And I barely drink. I'm a young son, and I hope he's in a good place. But I was bringing home bad mojo when I was working with the Wildhearts, especially, a few years ago. You can't help but bring home what you're surrounded with when you're working. It gets into your pores and your clothes, and it's just not a good, So
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. I think he's trying to relaunch the Wildhearts with no Wildheart members in it.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, it just seems to Ginger and some random blokes, basically. I mean, do you mind him using the Wildhearts name and all of that?
No, I don't mind that at all. I tell you what, I was rehearsing today, and I was on my I have a couple of computers, and there was a little thing said "Little Flower," which is a Wildhearts song, which I do in my set, and it was on our album Renaissance Man. The fans like it, and I clicked on it, and it was a video of when I did a solo tour, and it was like Scott, who was the bass player in the Wildhearts, and Richie, who was a drummer, and me. We were on stage. It's a solo gig, and the thought in my head was like, there's actually more Wildhearts on this stage
in the Wildhearts.
And I think that's quite profound, But I mean, it's. I think he's just trying to keep the name alive, but
yeah.
I personally, I wish him all the best, but I don't understand it. I mean, we used to be a really cool band, and
Right.
it's just there was a look to the band. It's one of the reasons why we got signed, because they saw us when we first got signed. They saw us as a UK version of Guns N' Roses, because you had the brown guitar, the gingerhead singer, and we look really similar. And, that look's gone from the Wild. I think my solo band looked more like the Wildhearts than the Wildhearts. Bizarre.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, music-wise, you said you had all the influences coming together. Did you have like a clear vision of what you wanted to do with the Wildhearts?
Yeah, we always did. I mean, it was always that two-part harmony thing. Me and Ginge always did. It was always about our guitars. It was always about massive choruses, intricate, guitar melodies, harmonies, just really big, loud. It was always about, keeping it rock and roll, keeping it punk, keeping it sleazy, keeping it, musical. And on a good day, the Wildhearts, we were a good band, really good band. And musically, I think we hit our peak in the early sort of noughties, around about sort of 2004, 2005, when Scott Sorry joined the band and Richie came back on drums, and we made an album called the White Album. And musically, I think the band was never topped that period, around about sort of 2006, 2005.
You talked about the chaos. I mean, was that there right from the start?
Always, yeah. It was always.
Yeah.
I mean, when people ask about the Wildhearts, I said it was like 4 complete and utter fucking bastards in a band. You're really horrible, It's like you put us in a room, with drugs. We'll do all the drugs, and then we'll probably steal everybody's girlfriends, and then get in a fist fight after we've drunk everybody's drinks. We're horrible.
Yeah.
But isn't that rock and roll?
I guess, man.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
No, you said it. Nice boys don't play rock and roll.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, it must have made the gigs much more sort of intense and chaotic. So I guess in that respect, it's part of what the band was, right?
Yeah, it's everything what the band was. Unpredictable and chaotic, but it's great when you're younger. But there comes when a big label invests in you, you got to know when to pull back and start doing the work. Because they don't give you that dough for nothing.
No,
we give you some money last week. Yeah.
Don't know what happened to that.
And that's the problem with the Wildhearts. We didn't know how to play the game. And when I learned how to play the game, it was too late.
Was there a point? Was there like a point where you think we're kind of reached like not rock bottom, where you think like, fuck, this is just too far? Was there like an event or anything?
There's been a few of the events, but I've always been able to protect myself from most of those events. It's one of the reasons why I still have enthusiasm for making music, and I still have a really young heart and a really positive outlook on everything in life. And it's because I mean, Ginger once said I was like a block of flats. It's like impenetrable, like concrete. And a lot of that had to do with where I grew up, because if I got upset, people calling me names. The names and the racism I had as a child, I wouldn't get very far. You've got to be able to brush stuff off, and that's what I was good at. And I never bear grudges either, ever. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good way to live.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I ask a couple of things? I saw you supported Alice in Chains at the Brixton Academy, right? Me and Neil were at one of the gigs. We were there. Do you remember those?
Yes, yeah. That was one of my favorite ever tours.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
We did a handful of shows over here. We did some shows in Europe as well. And
that's right.
But it was I've really gotten well with Lane and Jerry.
Really?
Yeah, and whenever I see Jerry on my travels, he always comes up and says hello. And he always,
wow.
Says I'm his favourite wild art. I don't know if that's a compliment or a dig. But,
because obviously they had a similar chaos in their band, didn't they?
Their own troubles, right?
Yeah, I mean Lane. You anyone who spent any time with him could see there was some deep rooted problems there, and I mean it was a lovely part.
It's just one of those.
Well, we did a gig in Dublin with them, and he asked some acid, and so me and Danny scored him some acid, and we told him not to take them all, and he just said they're really strong. I've heard acid in it's weak, and I went, no, trust me, it's stronger than this shit again in America. And he took him and he just did it. Sit down.
Fucking hell.
We were playing in Paris, and he went, CJ, come on. And he opened his dressing room, and it was such a rock star moment. It was just full of models, Parisian. And he introduced us, hey, this is CJ. And it was just a proper, Spinal Tap moment.
Sure.
Yeah. You remember moments like that. And he was a lovely guy, brilliant guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. It was the gig we went to was great because I think it was you. I think Clawfinger were there as well. I think is that right?
Correct. Yeah, Clawfinger. They went on third. We were in the middle, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Again, Lane and Jerry's harmonies were to die for.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But the other thing is we were really proto. Do you know when I said about playing the game? They even though it was chaotic, Alice in Chains, when they came on stage, they were you knew they were superstars. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Very good.
That line. Whereas in the Wildhearts, we never really crossed that line. We were always a bunch of punk rockers playing the marquee, on a Wednesday night, about 50 people.
Yeah.
Never that glamour thing going on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good gig though. Great gig. Still remember it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. You also played Top of the Pops. We love talking about Top of the Pops on the podcast. Do you how much do you remember about that?
The resounding memory of Top of the Pops for me was I did it I think 3 times. But when in the 90s it was still next door to the EastEnders plot.
Yeah.
So whenever you did Top of the Pops, you'd see all the EastEnder actors and actresses running around. And when we were sound checking Caffeine Bomb, I remember looking out and there was the Mitchell brothers looking at us. They were in the studio. And it's brilliant because you don't expect to see Grant and Phil Mitchell.
No.
No.
Leave it out.
Yeah, I know. It's all that. But we had a break, a lunch break, and we went into the canteen, and we're still. I don't know if you saw us on Top of the Pops Caffeine Bomb. We had tons.
Those green goggles and stuff. Ginger had, right? Yeah.
So, we're dressed like that with flares and
someone was dressed up as Kiss, maybe. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, and they I remember Barbara Windsor and Pat Sinclair. So it was was it who played Pat? What was her name? The actress who played Pat. What was her name actually?
That was her name. Pam St. Clement, right?
Yeah,
Pam.
Pam St. Clement. Yeah.
And I was behind them, and they turned around and looked at me like this, and they just started. I had a massive conversation with them. So they said, "We haven't seen them in years," and it was just really.
Yeah, it's the second time that Barbara Windsor's come up on the podcast. Ben from the Senseless Things when he was speaking about Top of the Pops, he met Barbara Windsor too. So she pops up.
And do you remember a band called Two Unlimited?
Oh, of course, No Limit.
They're a Dutch band.
Of course,
yeah.
Well,
Were they on?
Me and Danny were. I don't know if you know in the Caffeine Bomb video. It was banned. It was a puking scene, which was banned.
That's right. Doesn't he puke on you? Is that how it was? What happened? Yeah.
We puked like at each other, but in like continental Europe, it was fine. You know, a lot more liberated out there. And Ray from Two Unlimited saw me and Danny, and he went up to me and, "You're the puking guy."
The puking guy.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
I'm the puking guy. Yeah,
brilliant.
Two Unlimited. Yeah, of course, remember them well.
And you famously got away with swearing on Top of the Pops, which not many bands have done on the Caffeine Bomb, right?
I had no idea.
Yeah. Apparently, you got the words shit. On Top of the Pops.
One of my guitars has "fuck off" on it, and I almost got it on Top of the Pops. The cameraman spotted it and came running over with a gaffer.
Oh, really?
I just spotted it at the last minute. That would have been good.
Yeah. I'm based in Tokyo. The Wildhearts seem to have a pretty strong connection with Japan. I mean, how did that come about?
They always, there was a lot of bands around at our time, but they just liked us in Japan. They liked the way we looked, and they thought we looked different to other British bands and sounded different, which we did. And there was that Guns N' Roses thing as well. They thought we looked like a British version of Guns N' Roses. We just hit for some reason out there. And outside of the UK, Japan was the only other market where we did really, really well. Everywhere else we had like really small followings, and we just didn't hit in Europe, didn't hit in America, but Japan, we went massive. Yeah, at one point we were bigger in Japan than we were over here.
Wow.
And it's always paid off. All my other bands have always done well in Japan, and I'm doing a Japanese tour in March with my. So
okay.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, we're in Tokyo in March, so why don't you come along?
Okay. Oh, definitely will. Brilliant. Yeah.
It's going to be announced soon, so I think it's announced next month. So let me know, and then drop me a line. I'll sort you out on the list as well.
Oh, nice one. Brilliant. Definitely do that. Definitely.
That, can you?
No, that's cool. Well, I'm sure you've spoken about it many times, but I mean, can you talk about how you ended up kind of leaving the Wildhearts, or, I mean,
which
first
one?
time?
Which version?
Yeah, the first time.
I was sacked the first time.
Yeah.
Sacked, and it was just to be honest with you, it was the best thing that has happened to me getting sacked from the Wildhearts. A couple of reasons. The band was getting very, very unhealthy. Me and Ginger, we've always routinely like clashed, but like most bands, anyway.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it enabled me to start Honeycrack with Willie Dowling, and all of a sudden I was out of the Wildhearts and I was put in a band where I had a much bigger record deal than the Wildhearts, and I had a lot more money. But I was in a band with 4 other guys who were all massive studio heads, and they knew everything about music and how to make music, and they could all sing, and they were all songwriters. So in those 2 years, if I hadn't have been in Honeycrack, I record my albums myself now in my home and then mix in another studio. But if it wasn't for those 2 years with these really disciplined and talented like individuals, I wouldn't have thought, right, I've got to learn how music is made. It's all right just writing a song, but you know, it's great to know how to record one. And
especially in these times where you can do it yourself, then that's a great skill to have.
Yeah, there's only me and Richie in the Wildhearts who knew how to record ourselves. You know, Danny and Ginger don't know that. Yeah, and I round about when I got kicked out of the Wildhearts in '94, I started paying attention every time I was in the studio, and I was looking at some years working and just trying to understand the science of music, and rather than just getting a pad and writing some lyrics, and that set me up. If it wasn't for Honeycrack, I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. It put me on a different trajectory.
Interesting. Yeah, I really liked Honeycrack. I bought the first couple of singles and everything when they came out. I mean, were you surprised that they kind of took off so easily, it seemed from the outside.
No, I think I had a really big vehicle to drop off because when I jumped off when the Wildhearts, our we had one really good crack at it, and that was 93, 94 was the Wildhearts time. Really, really just we could have gone stellar and we didn't. The band, the whole makeup of the band changed and it plateaued, and it stayed on that plateau. But within a week of being out of the Wildhearts, 2 weeks, I'd done demos with Willie, and I had like 5 major record deals on the table.
Wow,
that's all right. Isn't it?
And Warner Brothers wouldn't let me go either, and I had to buy myself out of that deal as well. Sony paid £140,000 to get me out of the Warner.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Cash,
it was great. Yeah, for 2 years I felt like Prince, and I'm not talking about Prince Charles. I felt like Ray from 2 Unlimited.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a very specific song. One of our listeners, John, he wanted to ask specifically about their favorite song, Samantha Pope. Can you tell us a bit about that? I mean, is it based on a real person or anything like that?
It's based on a real person, but Willie wrote that song, and he's the person who does it. But it's a really good song. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, and I believe it's got Pink Panther film in it.
Oh right.
Yeah, the drummer key that's copied the beginning of the Pink Panther film.
Yeah.
He put that film in there. But I loved Honeycrack, and it's if I could revisit one band again, it would be Honeycrack. I don't think we fulfilled our full potential, and I don't think I've gone on to make many albums that people have raved about, but I don't think Willie. I think Willie needs someone like me. He needs a punk rocker, someone to ruffle the edges. You know.
Do you think that could be on the cards at any point?
I don't think Willie's up for it. I know the rest of the guys would love to do it, and I'd love to do like a reunion tour. And there's a lot of interest in the band. A lot of people didn't see the band, and they got into the band after we'd split. And I think the tour will do really well. I'd love to do it, but I just don't think Willie's into it, and I've got to respect that. And isn't he he's in choir in all bands at the moment, you know?
He's in what, sorry?
Have a sound, and I don't see Willie with that kind of sound. I see, I've always looked at Willie more of a. He's not really rock and roll. I've always seen him more. He's so good. He's such a talented.
Too good for rock and roll. What?
Easy thing to be in.
What was the band you said he was in at the moment?
Fireboys. He plays keyboards with the Fireboys.
Oh right, well that's where Ginger comes from, right? Of course, it's all coming around.
We go back a long way, so maybe I don't know. I hope Willie. Next year is an anniversary. I think it's the 30th anniversary of our album.
Okay,
so,
maybe, yeah.
Sometimes these things just happen, don't they? Out of nowhere.
Yeah,
so it could still happen. We won't write it off just yet.
I never write anything off. I don't think I'll go back to the Wildhearts.
No.
I think that door is firm.
Yeah.
But Honeycrack, it's still ajar.
There we go. I mean, they played with some pretty big bands, right, at the time. Did you have any favorite people that you toured with or played with?
Oh, Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah.
She was brilliant. Apparently, she saw one of our videos on MTV and had a bit of a crush on me.
Oh, here we go. Spill the beans.
And it was a great tour because Taylor Hawkins was a drummer at the time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Taylor really loved Honeycrack as well, so he'd get up and do our sound checks for us.
Our drummers in
hospital, so we had a session drummer on tour with us, and Taylor would get up and there was talk about him maybe joining us, but he got the call from Grohl on that tour.
Oh, really?
On that tour, right? You were there.
But another boy who liked to party, Taylor, but he was brilliant. Like, and we also toured with Weezer on their first album, the Blue Album. I'm a massive Weezer fan. Huge Weezer fan. And Skunk and Nancy, we went on tour with as well. It was brilliant. Skin's just one of those characters.
iconic, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
I
for
didn't.
sure.
Although I was out of the Wildhearts, I was still having a lot of fun, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, Honeycrack always used to get into the best clubs in town as well. Whenever we rolled up, we'd go to like the nice clubs. You know,
Right.
we were like,
Not the grotty punk ones. Yeah. But
we could get into anywhere. Honeycrack. You were just one of those type of bands, you know, because people didn't quite know what we were about. And although were firmly like it was like rock, we could get into like the posh clubs as well because of the way we looked. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I used to have doors
No.
held open for me. Yeah,
Oh, there you
I
go.
wasn't given a sponge and told to wash the car. Made a change.
no. I was wondering because you did like the Ramon thing and gave yourself like the surname of the band, like CJ Wildheart, Ginger Wildheart. Did that make it more difficult to kind of disassociate yourself with them? Because
Right.
it was in your name.
Right. I was the first one to have the Wild Art tag, CJ
Right.
Wild Art. And it's funny you mentioned the
Mm.
Ramones because when Kerrang used to
Mm.
write about CJ, they'd have to say which one it was. So they'd say
Mhm.
CJ Wild Art, or it could be CJ
Right.
Ramone. Yes.
Right, of
Okay.
course.
I had the
Mm.
first. I believe I was because Ginger was never known as Ginger Wildheart or Danny Wildheart, but they always
Mm.
called him CJ Wildheart, and it was so you didn't get confused with CJ Ramone
Right.
because he
Right.
had at the time as well. So not the
Yeah.
Wildhearts, the Ramones. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the tag just it kind of Danny Wildheart, Ginger Wildheart, it just kind
Yeah.
of stuck. And
Mm.
I believe me when I my last solo album, I was really thinking of dropping the Wild Art name because although the Wild Arts have made many good albums, and we've on a good day we were good musicians. The band, when people mention the Wild Arts, they don't think about the music. They don't think that.
Right, because there's so much other shit that went with it.
Yeah, and the name doesn't open doors for me, and people are always quite wary when they meet. If they've never met me before, they're always like, "You're completely opposite to what I thought you were going to be like."
Right.
It's reputation that precedes,
Right.
like the
Yeah.
parts. I'm not talking about the guys in the band now. I'm talking
Yeah.
about proper Wild Hearts, like Danny, myself, Ginger, Richie, Scott,
Mm.
and it's not the best of reputations. It's like people are like. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a pretty fucking cool fucking rock and roll legacy, though, isn't it?
It is. But I mean, you get to an age where you just want people to listen to the music and forget about all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some great stories. I would never write a book because my stories are no different to any other person out there who's been given tons of money and is a bit of a dickhead. It's just we all have the same stories, but yeah, I think I've done really well to convince people that I'm actually quite grounded and I'm on a good
You
day.
come
I'm quite
across.
Yeah. Seem thoroughly nice bloke to us, but yeah. But I mean, did it also make it easier to come back when you did rejoin the Wild Hearts when the name was there already? So
Yeah, I mean, all credit to Ginger. He did ask me back about 2 months after I was sacked.
oh really?
Well, I couldn't go back. I couldn't go back. I just signed a fucking huge deal with Sony. They'd just given Warner Brothers 140K to get me off the deal, and it was just like there was no way I was like contracted up to there. And as I said, I needed those couple of years working with someone like Willie and the rest of Honeycrack just to learn. But when the time was right, we the Wildhearts has always been my band. It's a band I formed with Ginger. It wasn't a band I auditioned for. We met. We said we were going to make a band together, and the Wildhearts was that band. I think the history has been rewritten a bit about how the band about. But so I've always viewed the Wildhearts as my band, and I'll be lying if I said part of me isn't hurt. A part of me is hurt when I see Ginger carrying on, and it's the disregard to what made his songs so good. You can have the best songs in the world, but you haven't got the right vehicle, behind it. And he had the right people behind him. He could have had anyone else.
We spoke. Yeah, we spoke about this last week. It's not just having good musicians. It's the whole dynamics that makes a group.
Chemistry, everything. Some of the best singers in the world best bands behind them. And the
Yeah.
minute you took them out of that band, they would never ever be the same again. Weller, Sting, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
out of their bands, they forget what it was that made their songs and them special. And
Sting's a very good example.
Yeah.
because I was a big Police fan, and
Yeah.
I've never listened to things so
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Copeland is still my favorite drummer.
Oh,
Right.
You
amazing.
know,
Yeah.
and it's I think a lot of singers forget sometimes that, you know, what makes them
Sure.
stand out. You know,
Mm.
it's not
But I
just
mean,
about
yeah. I mean, you said you wouldn't write a book. I mean, Danny called his book "Once a Wild Heart, Always a Wild Heart." I mean, is that how you feel in your heart? Is that, are you
no,
any different? No, that's good.
first and foremost, my job is I have a 10-year-old son. I'm a dad. I'm a father, and my family name is 100 times cooler than the Wildhearts family
There
name.
you go.
I have a really exotic and a really cool name, you know, and it means man holding the world, and you know, and I've always viewed myself as a father. You know, I'm my father's son. My family are like, you know, my mum and dad are passed now, but they're like my heroes, and
Yeah.
you know, but I've always tried. You know, I have the CJ Wildheart persona, who used to be a bit nutty, you know, fucked up on drugs, alcohol, did some horrible things, and then I had a family life as well. You know, and there was a point where the rock and roll crossed into my family life, and it all went wrong, like
Yeah, that's
horribly wrong.
toxic, right?
I've always kept them separate now, and
Yeah.
I'm really proud of what we achieved, the good things we achieved in the Wildhearts. But there's some stuff that makes me feel ashamed. But I don't write a book about it. I've read a few. I don't read many like books by musicians, because you start reading it, it's like, I've done that, and I've done that. And I've done
Yes,
that.
I will. I've done that.
Yeah.
You start off friends, you sign a massive record deal, you buy tons of drugs, you try to
Yeah.
shag each other's friends, you drink too much, you hate each other. You know, it's
Record company drops you. Yeah.
It's a familiar
the
story.
Wildhearts are like a cut out rock and roll band. We're perfect. You know, it's
Yeah.
just like you don't need another book. Danny's written the book, and by all means, it's supposed to be really good. So,
Yeah.
but I don't think because I was there for half of it, I think. But I can't remember.
All right. So your long service on the battlefield of rock and roll. Do you have a favorite record or that you've made in any of your bands over the years, or solo stuff or anything?
Well, I think the most important album I'm on is Earth versus the Wildhearts, because if it wasn't for that one album, that album was a good enough album to be remembered, and it's been remembered for many years now, many decades. And that album spurned so many, you know, other albums, other bands. And you know, if you ever had to choose one album, it would be that album. It's not necessarily my favorite album, but it was.
So what would be your favorite? If you wanted to sit down and put it on and listen to it, what would be your favorite?
I'm gonna see. So if I was with a record label, right, my PR man would give me like, you know what you're gonna say. My album I've just finished.
New album, yeah.
Like,
Come on, honest answer, please.
Actually, I really love the album I've just finished. Normally when I make albums, I'm so sick of them because I work on my own for 80% of it. I'm so sick of it that I will never listen to the album. And I got the masters and I listened to it 4 times in a row, which is really rare.
That's a good sign. Yeah.
You know, I haven't read like Earth versus in 30 odd years, maybe. You know, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But my favorite Wildheart album is the White Album, which was Scott, Sorry Me, Richie and Ginger. As I said earlier, that was when I believe the band were at their musical peak. The best made album, like as in just songs and sonically, is the Honeycrack album. If I wanted someone to impress someone, I'd go, oh, play us one of your bands, you know, and I'd give them Earth Versus, I'd give them the White Album, I'd give them the Honeycrack album, and as my new album isn't out yet, I'll give them my last solo album, Split.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
good answers. Yeah. All right. We're go on, Neil.
Yeah, so we've kept you a long time, but we ask every guest that comes on this podcast if you could have been in any other band around that time, sort of early 90s, who would it have been and why?
Uh, the only band I would like to be in is the Clash.
Got the T-shirt on. I can see.
Yeah, they were always in the background for me, the Clash. But I became like a massive fan later on. I remember the first album I got of them was Given Enough Road, which I used to listen to a lot in like the sort of early Wildheart days, and I just Stay Free is my favorite song. I love Mick Jones. I love the melody it brings. And but in the 90s, I don't know any of the bands that made it massive. So I'd be talking to you right now. That's the Martins, yeah.
The Clash is a good answer, man. It don't get much better than that, right?
I think they're the best, the greatest British band ever for me. And after them, it would be the Cardiacs.
Right.
Early Cardiacs. So they were like a band.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So your new album's coming out soon then. So what's the best place for people to follow what you're doing, listen to the music and all of that?
Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I don't post much on Twitter or X. It's not my least favorite of all the social media platforms.
Yeah.
I have a store as well, cjdevilspit.com. That's where you buy my albums from. Before they're up on all the usual suspects like Bandcamp and whatever, Spotify and all that. But the album, you can pre-order it now and you can actually hear it before the official release next year, because I'm going to make the digital available on December the 20th. So,
and finally, where can people buy your hot sauce?
Right, I sell my hot sauce like once a year now, and you have to go. My next hot sauce sale will be in spring, and you have to pre-order it.
Yeah,
and you can buy it via my shop, my online store. So I'll put the old battle cry out there when the sauce is ready, but it'll be about springtime, once a year, and it always sells out. Always sells out in about 2 weeks.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, I really appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. CJ, ex Wildhearts, Honeycrack, CJ and the Satellites, top
Jellies.
bloke. Jellies. Dave, did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, it was good. He looks good, doesn't he, for 56?
He does
really
look good.
does,
He's
man.
cool as fuck, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I looked that cool.
You're not 56 yet, man.
Yeah, I know, but even now I don't look that cool.
You need to get in the gym.
I don't know. Yeah, but he just looks cool, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Some people just look really cool all the time, and I reckon he's one of them.
Yeah.
He looks cooler now than he did then.
I think you're right.
Yeah. I think you might be right.
Some people grow into it, right? Yeah, looks great.
He do look cool as fuck, you're right. Yeah. Well noticed. I thought that too.
Me too. And he was just so kind of funny and open and relaxed. He seemed like really kind of
in a good place,
comfortable with himself. Just just a really open, relaxed, funny guy, right?
I liked his interested take on record companies. He's a bit more pragmatic. Is that the right word? I remember I'm not good with words. Whereas he appreciated that, no one forced you to sign record deals and take all that money, It was it's not like they were forced to do it. No one held that.
It does sound like he's done some thinking on that subject, and maybe has come to learn that rather,
I think I think we're like with all these bands, like that were shafted with these record deals and stuff. Without those record deals, we've not been horrible, but we probably wouldn't know who they are. So there is that sort of,
He was really honest about the whole money side of it, wasn't he? It was really interesting. Yeah, I bet Dave enjoyed hearing about the money.
Yeah, I like figures, proper figures.
Yeah, that's what Dave's all about, figures.
Sure.
Guess you can't have one without the other, can you? Can't get shafted by a record company unless you're part of that in the first place.
Yeah.
Funny upbringing, right? So he said he grew up in the army. So is that his parents in the army?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
his
he
dad,
used
I
to
think.
follow them around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird life, that, isn't it?
Mm.
You go from base to base, don't you?
He used the word civilian school, right? It's interesting.
I've got no idea what it involves.
Being an army kid.
Living that life. Yeah.
Your dad, you are an army kid. Your dad had the second biggest head in the RAF.
He did, but he'd left by the time I was born. He was in the RAF, but he got airsick. That's what he always tells me, anyway.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Did he not know before he based his whole life on it and career on it?
Well, you don't, do you? You
If
join
you don't
up
know.
thinking, I want to fly planes.
Sure.
And then you're in it for a while before you get to fly.
Yeah.
And then he found out he got sick.
That's brilliant. That's great.
I loved hearing about the UK glam or sleaze scene, he called it. I loved hearing about that. And I love the fact that it existed. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, I didn't know it existed. Because that's what we were saying a bit earlier. Like, that's one of the things that separated the Wildhearts from a lot of the other bands at the time, is just the way they dressed, right? It was very sort of...
But isn't it called sleaze scene because it's based around Soho and stuff?
Well, maybe. But I think like they dressed, intentionally sleazy, right? They were supposed to look like.
But I love all that glam rock stuff. I think you forget it wasn't that long before, like grunge, that bands were all dressing like Mother Love Bone. They were all dressed glam, didn't they?
Yeah. And the Manics did it well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you forget how close to the 70s, the 90s were. Because we were young, we weren't functioning in the 70s, really. So it just seemed like a lifetime
Well, there's
away.
a difference between, like there was glam rock in the 70s, but the glam kind of hard rock is where the kind of 80s, which is where they got their look from, right? So kind of Sunset Strip glam metal bands, right?
Yeah, see, I like all that scene.
I bet you do.
If I could have put myself in a scene, I'd like to have been in that one.
Yeah. Again, there's still time, man. You can combine your eyeliner ambition with your glam rock sensibilities. Put it all together.
I think when your eyes start sagging, you probably shouldn't wear eyeliner.
No, of course not. Do what you want. Well,
Robert
Smith,
he's always going to pull it off, isn't he? Robert Smith. He'd look stupid without eyeliner.
True. It's cool when he's talking about seeing Guns N' Roses at the Marquee. When Axl could sing was a good line, man. That was funny.
There's a very small window, wasn't there, to see Guns N' Roses in those small venues. They didn't do it for very long. And now all they've ever done is stadiums. It would have been good to see them in those little venues back in the day. There's that famous, I think it's where they filmed the video for, is it Paradise City or can't remember which one, where they're playing in that club.
I've seen it, yeah.
It just looks amazing, yeah. I think he used to fight with the crowd, didn't he, Axl, and jump into the crowd and punch people and stuff. I wouldn't have liked to have been the person get punched, but it'd been good to be there.
Rock and roll.
Well, he punched his own fans.
Not just randomly. I think they were probably doing that.
Giving him shit. Yeah.
I think they had chuck stuff at him, didn't they, and stuff.
All right, fair enough.
Metallica popped up again. They do pop up quite a lot, don't they, as an influence?
Yeah.
In the early days, they were quite different to a lot of the metal bands. They were more punky, weren't they? Fast.
Well, that was the whole point of thrash metal, right? Which they were one of the main bands of. So
yeah, by the time the Black album come around, they were nothing like what they used to be. But that's when most people that's when I got into them. But yeah, but they do.
Let's get them on the podcast.
I'd like to. We try.
Yeah, get on it.
Well, all right, I'm trying. Jesus, you found out how difficult it was this week when you sent emails.
No, that's my fault. I sent you forwarded emails onto me, and I emailed everyone, but I was emailing you back.
You just emailed.
So I thought I'd emailed them, but I just emailed you.
You knob.
I know, man. Then like 3 days later,
I thought you copied me in.
No, I literally only emailed you back. What a fucking idiot. And I gave them all the wrong time. I gave them like the Tokyo time, which I've never ever done before. Like when I speak to people, I was just really confused and panicked.
So it's not easy, is it?
It's not easy. No, I'm rubbish at that kind of stuff. Ugh, yeah. Dave, what do you got? What's all your copious notes say?
I've got a little quiz for you.
Oh,
We ain't got
okay.
time for a quiz.
Yes, we have.
It's
Come
just to
on.
whet your appetites.
All right, let's
Right.
do it.
No, it got me thinking, so many people talk about Top of the Pops and then
It's not going to be a snooker quiz, is it?
Steel. They talk about all the EastEnders they see.
Yeah.
So I thought
Right.
quick
I
fire,
got EastEnders.
Yep.
There, yeah.
right?
Mm.
Luke versus Neil. First one to 5.
Yeah.
Do I
I'm
have
going to
to
give the
buzz?
character. You've got to name the actor.
Oh, I haven't.
You
I
ready?
haven't lived in the country for 20 odd years. But go on.
Obviously, I'm not going to do any recent EastEnders. We're just
Okay.
talking
Go on.
80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You've got to keep your score with your fingers, right? First to 5.
All right.
Den Watts.
Leslie Grantham.
1-0.
Oh, nice. Good work.
Ian Beale.
Adam Woodyard.
Shit,
2-0.
man, you know your characters.
Come on.
Come on, next.
Sharon Watts.
Oh, what's her name? Letitia Dean.
Something. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
well
it.
done. You pulled one
2-1.
back. Dr. Fonseca.
Luke Lawrence.
Yeah. 2-2. Carry on.
2-2. Well done. Nick Cotton.
Oh, he had a single,
I
didn't he?
don't know.
Wait, he had a pop career, didn't
This
he?
is like a full quiz.
This is good. This is good. What was his name? He had a pop. Give us a hint. Give us initials.
He's got the
Didn't.
same surname as the CEO of ChatGPT.
Oh, thanks for that.
He had a single, didn't he? Give us. What are his initials?
J.A.
It's just nasty Nick Cotton.
Nasty Nick
Yeah.
Cotton.
John Alford.
Too late. Oh,
I got him
It's
before
John
you
Altman.
said
I'll
too
give
late.
you that.
Oh, no,
Okay.
no.
No,
it's
give him
wrong.
it. Give
Don't
him it.
give
Go on.
to
You
me.
have it. You have it. Now, who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
Just
just
take it.
hurry up.
Yeah. Take the point, then hurry up more. Go
I'll
on.
take it.
All right. What are we on?
Ethel
3-2.
Skinner.
No one knows.
Never
no one
heard of
cares
her.
who Ethel Skinner is. I like Willie the
Next.
dog, though.
Next.
Little Willie.
All right,
Should we
Angie
call him
Watts.
Little Willie?
Anita Dobson.
Oh, 3-0. Kathy Beale.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I've ever known.
All right, we'll get easier then. Grant Mitchell.
Ross Kemp.
Ross Kemp.
There you go.
Of course.
One more, Neil. Phil Mitchell.
I do know this.
Me too. Everyone knows. Gone blank.
Pat Butcher.
We talked about it, didn't we?
Pam St.
Um,
Clements.
Pam St. Clement.
There you go.
Ah,
I
Neil.
was trying
Well
to
done.
make it
Quiz.
easy and easy because you're so bad at this
You
quiz.
you knew your enders, man. Good on you. Who was Phil Mitchell?
Steve McFadden.
That's it.
Right.
McFadden, yeah.
McFadden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't work quite as well as I'd hoped.
I think you had
but,
too
know.
many. I think, first to 3 would have been better. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with your quizzes in general. They just drag on. Just make it shorter.
Thing is, if I was in your shoes, I'd have wanted it to go on longer.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. By the way, listeners, Dave's going to do another quiz for the end of the year again. So look forward to that.
It's
Dave's
not
end
going to
of
be
year quiz.
snooker based.
No.
It's just going to be a straight,
Darts
straightforward
based.
quiz.
Yes.
It's not going to be weird. It's not going to be a weird
Based on the
quiz.
rules
it's
of
just gonna
curling.
be a quiz.
All right. Let's get back to the interview. Come on.
Yeah, let's do it.
More sort of wisdom from him about never bearing grudges.
Mm.
Yeah, I like that. He seemed to make a point of that. It's a good way to live, though. Doesn't get you anywhere.
But how'd you do it?
I don't know. I bear a lot of grudges.
Yeah, me too, man.
I think I don't. I don't know.
Well, it depends on how shafted you get, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, they're saying that, well, in the interview, like when we first talked about like Ginger and like everything like that, he was kind of very gracious and diplomatic, and he's like, "Good luck to him." And then at the end of the interview, it's like, "I just can't understand it." So he was,
I just don't think he get. And this is what I wanted to talk about. Bands that carry on, like when the core members have gone, it's just a bit sad, isn't it? It's just, it is kind of pointless.
Like who?
yeah.
Well, like him,
But what if you're like the principal songwriter, like Ginger was? Basically, he wrote the song.
we established before, just go out as Ginger Wildheart.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You don't need to go out as the
You know.
Wildhearts. Yeah.
No, I
definitely.
just think that
It's a bit
just
arrogant,
does.
isn't it?
But if Noel just went out as
Yeah.
Oasis, people are like, what the fuck are you talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah, I
yes.
just don't think I find something. It's just a little bit. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. I
Yeah.
know, bands members leave and get replaced and all that. But I think when you start losing the core members, well, when you're the only person left in that band from the original lineup, I don't know. It just doesn't work.
But then you
does
got the BMX Bandits, right?
Yeah,
it? Yeah, but
but
he
they
was
were like
right.
that from the start.
But they were always like
that's
that.
the model. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that is slightly different because it's more of a collaboration.
Are there any bands you can think of that have changed everyone from the original line?
Oh, there's loads of them out there, especially like bands from like the 50s and 60s and stuff like that. Right.
E71 is still going, and it's only the two blokes that no one knows.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's another great podcast called The History of Rock Music and 500 Songs. If you listen to the early episodes of that, he's covering like the doo-wop bands, and basically every single member's been replaced between the recording and the release of the single.
Yeah.
Shit like that,
Oh,
man,
no.
all the time. It's and they're like still touring now. You know, they had like one song in like 1956, and they're still they even by the time it was released, none of the original members were there, and then they're still touring in some form right now. It's
Yeah,
crazy
I
shit.
just don't get it. Like I say, you could easily just go out of not CJ, it's Ginger Wildheart, and he could still play Wildheart songs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like CJ said, he doesn't really understand. I don't know why you.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the Alice in Chains chat.
I've got that. Yeah. Why? It was one of my favourite ever gigs. So I'll be honest, I don't remember a great deal about the support bands, but I do remember them being there. But I don't really. Just too excited about seeing Alice
It's
in
interesting
Chains.
considering in how much detail you described Alice in Chains when we talked about it in the Grunge episode.
Yeah, I
of that
enjoyed
gig.
that.
Wow.
You really remembered Alice in Chains.
I'm just obsessed with them at the time. I guess
Yeah.
everything else got blurred. But I do
Sure.
remember Wildhearts and Clawfinger as well, but only sort of as a bit of a mashed memory.
Yeah.
Incredible
And
gigs to do. And
Jerry called him his favourite Wildheart. That's cool, right?
they must have all been so fucked though at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them probably. Most of the people in those two bands were probably at the height of their debauchery.
Yeah.
But maybe not, because he made a point of how professional they were, Alice in Chains were when they went up.
Yeah.
And
but
maybe they weren't so much then, and that happened later.
I think Ned Stone, it was always a bit on it.
It's all fun and games until someone loses a leg.
Or their fingers.
Yeah, their fingers, exactly. Yeah.
Weirdly, we just brushed on the Mitchell brothers. I went back and watched that caffeine bomb on
It's good, right?
top of. Yeah, it's brilliant. And I just loved that look.
Pull it off, man. I reckon you should totally go for it.
Yeah. So I'm going to walk around in a gold shirt and those green fucking glasses, right?
Why not?
Just walk around Seaford like that.
Well, Lanzarote.
You get away with it in Brighton, to be fair.
Yeah.
People
you
wear shit like that all the time.
You would. Yeah.
Brighton's become a bit too cool for school now. Like, I walk around there, and some people you just think, how did you sort of decide to wear that shit today? Like,
is it in a hipster way though?
On.
Has it got like people riding fucking penny farthings and shit?
Oh, there's all that shit still goes on. Yeah, it's all that stuff. Yeah, you see them people walking around with those old school moustaches and stuff, all of that. But yeah,
Good
just
stuff.
some people just think, how did you decide to wear that?
Well, who are you? Who the fuck are you, man? Let them do what they want to do.
Did they really get away with saying shit on top of the pops?
Yeah.
How did that work then? Pre-recorded, isn't it?
Yeah, they just didn't notice. I think they have to submit the lyrics, but they submitted like the alternative lyrics or something like that. I can't remember the story now. When I was before the interview, I researched it quite a lot. I can't remember, but something like they submitted like the slightly different lyrics, and then they changed it in the recording of the
still
song.
Have heard them say shit.
I mean, no, I think it's just buried in the mix, right? They're just like a
Right.
rock, they're a punk band, right? It's just buried in the sound.
Yeah.
Do you have to play it backwards to hear it?
Yeah.
The swear
At
word.
midnight. Yeah. No, I think if you listen carefully, you can hear it.
Is the lyrics to Chumbawamba's famous hit "I Get Knocked Down"? Is it pissing the night away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do they get away with that?
It's just not that rude, is it?
No, yeah, it's all right.
It is for daytime radio.
It's all right now, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think you can have a song with piss in it.
Maybe they changed it to hissing.
All right. Answers in the comments. If you know how Chumbawamba
It's piss.
got away with that
It's
god
piss
awful
loud on the
fucking song being played
radio.
on the radio, let us know.
Don't put that on though.
No, of course not.
don't.
No. That's
We're
not
all,
good on the
we're all
playlist.
agreed on that one.
Yeah,
that's
that's
not.
no.
We can't. go
Didn't
down
even
that
consider it for a second. No.
road. They're a bit like Top Loader in that respect. It's not even funny.
No,
It's just
no.
quite offensive.
Yeah. Offensively bad. Yeah.
I think we should talk about Honeycrack a bit. Like you said, that's how you got in. That's how you
Yeah.
found out about CJ, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
they were a cool band. He looked cool then as well, Dave. Have you seen
I saw the Tier 5
on
Friday
TFI? He looked cool on that.
show.
But they were a really big sounding band, weren't they? Honeycrack. They did remind me of Three Colours Red a little bit.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah. It's interesting that they got the record deal so quickly, right? And he said, the record company bought him out of his previous contract and all of that. So they had, big plans for him. They
Well, when you got
Great.
someone who looks that cool, you're onto a
sure.
winner, aren't you?
Yeah. And they had the tunes, and yeah.
Yeah, because he talked back when they toured with Alanis Morissette and the
Mm.
whole Taylor Hawkins thing.
Yeah.
She was. I don't mind Alanis Morissette. I think that album was all right.
I think it's very good, that album, Jagged Little
Yeah,
Pill.
it was everywhere. I think it's all right.
I like
Yeah,
You
I
Ought to
do.
Know.
That's good. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
mean. There's
Yeah,
some
it's a
good
great
tunes
song,
on
right?
there.
But it's a cool story, right? Said she had a crush on him, right? Like Neil, she had a crush on him.
That's it for this one. Thanks, CJ, for coming on. Enjoyed that chat. Oh, just before we go, the Facebook group has now surpassed 1,000 subscribers.
Fuck.
It's all right.
Blimmin' heck.
That's amazing. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. That's incredible, man. 1,000 people. That's like
I
more
want
than
10,000
999.
by the end of this year.
Oh, God. Yeah, and then it's going to double every 2 weeks. Fucking hell. 1,000.
Double every day.
Yes. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. Keep
Yeah.
spreading the word. It's amazing.
But yeah, if you are watching this, then please do give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and get involved in the comments. Let us know your favourite Wildhearts, Honeycrack, CJ and the Satellites, all of that stuff. Let us know your favourite tracks, albums, gigs, all that sort of stuff. Let us know if you that Alice in Chains gig as well with me and Luke. If you're listening, then please do rate and review it. I don't think anyone ever does that anymore, but if you can, if you've got a minute, do that. Helps us out. But yeah, share it with your friends. That's the best way. Just share it with your friends. That's all we ask.
If you're new to the podcast, welcome in. Join the Facebook group. Get involved. There's a really cool community in there. And have a dig into the archives as well. So a couple of bands we mentioned, Senseless Things. So we had Ben Harding on the very first episode. So have a look at that, and have a look at the other 70, I guess, the other 70 episodes in there as well. I'm sure you'll find some people that you like. Also, we mentioned it a couple of times, but we make a playlist for every episode, so all of your favorite Wildhearts and Honeycrack tunes will be on there, and some of the other nonsense we talked about, except Chumbawamba, will be on there too.
And we will soon have an app that you can
Yes.
download onto your smartphone. Is it iPhone and Android?
It's just iOS to begin with.
Oh, just
Yeah.
iOS to begin with.
But if anyone asks for Android, I can do that as well. But let's
You can
see,
do
no one
anything.
might bother downloading it at all. So
Yeah, Dave can do anything. So whichever phone you've got, Dave can get it on your phone. So we'll keep you updated to that in the Facebook group. But that'd be good. Before Christmas, probably you'll be able to have a little app on your phone with our
Think
stuff
of the
on.
fun.
But that's it for this one. Dave,
see you in a minute.